The most powerful thing that you can do is allow your heart to break. And I know that sounds crazy, but within heartbreak and going through the process of it, it will reveal if you loved yourself or how much you loved yourself. It'll also give you wisdom and deeper insight, not only to what took place within that relationship, but where the root of those issues came from. Because most of the time, we just trace it back to the most recent event. And because this has been a cycle, a pattern in your life, you go back to your same coping mechanism. Now you're with the next person and you didn't even process the last one. So you ran from those feelings and tried to fill them with something else because it felt like too much to bear. When first of all, you're not bearing it alone. If you choose to heal and do something different, God will bring you to such a deep place of surrender to the point where you will identify the root cause of the issue. And although it's not an easy journey, although you are going to be in your feelings and you're going through mourning, you're experiencing mourning in the process of it. So although you're going to be experiencing that, it's the wisest thing to do, because when you step back out, you'll be stepping out brand new. God said that he will give you a new heart and a new spirit. But in order for him to do that, he has to remove your heart of stone. If your heart is stone, that means in order for him to be able to give you a new heart and deposit a new spirit, he has to break it. Him breaking your heart is breaking everything that has been coming up against you, because most of the time when you go through that process of healing and you're intentional about it, you will see what was coming up against you, what you were agreeing to, because it's not all the other party's fault. You didn't just get done wrong. You participated in that. You said yes in that. And sometimes it's so sneaky, the things that are lying dormant in us. Sabotage is so sneaky. Insecurity is so sneaky. It's so sneaky to the point where you don't even know that you're operating that way until a big event happens. And the problem is, because you've been operating in a reoccurring pattern, because you don't address the issue, you may have grown up in a household to which issues weren't addressed. You sweep them under the rug, you keep it pushing, you're in survival mode. Because you've been in survival mode, it's easy for that big event to come up, that big argument to come up, that issue to come up within the relationship. And it's like, let's hurry up and just get past this and rush processing our emotions here so that we can actively communicate. Let's not go seek the help that we need. Let's not find a different way to communicate. Let's just rush this process and survive through it and move on to the next thing. So we'll be good for a short amount of time and then go right back to the root cause of the issue. But because we're not dealing with the root cause, we're only dealing with the surface level, it's a reoccurring pattern to where offense is taking place, reoccurring between the both of you, to where it gets too big, to where both parties are like, oh, forget it. And what I've learned from relationships are both parties can mentally check out at different times within the relationship and still continue to be in it until an exit appears. That's the most dangerous thing that you can do, is mentally check out within your relationship but stay in it physically, and then move forward with someone else physically, but energetically you're still tied to the last person you was with. You can't even fully be in that. You can't even fully detach yourself from this because you didn't sift through the issues. You did not communicate. You suppressed yourself because of whatever reason. All of us have different reasons. Mine was I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I felt like everybody else had to make a choice for me. I couldn't make a choice for myself because my choice had been taken so many times. I don't know what it is for you. Or I'm going to say was, because you're no longer in this place. If you're in a position where you have a choice to do something different or do it the same way that you always have, please choose you. Because you choosing to go back into that pattern is you saying, I do not love myself. I do not see my value or my worth. I don't think I'm worth the investment or the time to heal and pour into me. If you're having a hard time processing your emotions, processing what took place, you may be gaslighting yourself, beating yourself up, or in denial of the part that you played because it makes you feel shameful or guilty, or like something's wrong with you, which is the furthest from the truth. You're human. and you're battling principalities from your childhood, things that you're not even aware of because you disassociated from the trauma. My number one advice about sifting through your emotions is writing. Get a journal and write about it. Don't let nothing come up against you saying, oh, somebody might find this journal, somebody might. It's time for you to start standing in your truth. What anybody else thinks about you is not your concern. The only thing that matters is what you think about yourself. Because at the end of the day, everybody's going to have an opinion. And if you can be easily swayed depending upon other people's opinion, you're going to be tossed to and from like the winds and the waves and the seas. And God said a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So you won't be able to remain grounded in yourself because you care too much about what people think. That's going to shorten your lifespan because you're stressed out constantly. On top of being stressed about other things. And getting to the root of the issue and healing is what's going to take you outside of worry and stress and panic. You'll be able to breathe and take your time. If you haven't read the Bible yet, I suggest that you start with Proverbs 31, especially if you're in a place where you are healing and you're trying to decide what kind of woman you want to be. You're trying to decipher what kind of woman God called you to be. I highly suggest Proverbs 31 because that woman knew her worth. That woman knew the gift that she carried in her hand. She knew the power of her being a woman. She knew the power of her energy. She knew the power of being a godly woman. She knew the power of it. She knew the power of remaining in the present moment. It says that she laughed at the time to come. She wasn't stressed out about what was coming up against her. She wasn't stressed out about tomorrow because she already knew it's going to be handled. So I have no need to worry or fear at all because that's not the God I come from. I don't come from a God of fear. I don't come from a God of panic. I don't come from a God of worry. I don't come from a God of anxiety. So she had her shoulders up high and was in the present moment. It said that strength and dignity were her clothing. Even if she was experiencing something that was heavy, she wouldn't allow herself to be sporadic in her emotions where anybody could see. She was wise in how she carried herself even when she was experiencing heartbreak. The enemy didn't deserve to see her that way. Easier said than done. Practice and give yourself grace on the days where you're not operating the best. You're still learning. Whether you have read Proverbs 31 or you haven't, read it a couple of times and apply it to your life because the word of God never fails. It doesn't return to him in vain. And if you affirm yourself with it, baby, your entire spirit will change. As you are experiencing heartbreak and shifting the way that you deal with pain this time. As you're writing, as you're going on daily walks, as you're working out, as you're identifying what it is that you need during this time period. Begin to ask yourself questions. Don't just go on the internet and mimic whatever you see other people doing to get through their process, their journey, or whatever it is that they did to get to their highest level. Taking advice, yes, because there are a lot of people who can teach you. There are a lot of people who have been through what you're experiencing right now who can give you advice. But at the end of the day, your life is not their life. So mimicking them down to the T is not going to give you the same results. Take what applies, yes, but you need to sit down with yourself and say, what is it that I need outside of anybody else telling me? Outside of what I think I'm supposed to be, outside of trauma, outside of settling, what is it that I need? What is going to make me better? What is going to challenge me to become the woman that I've always desired to be? That people have told me that I am, but I couldn't accept it because I couldn't see myself in that light. What is that? You have to sit down and ask yourself the questions. And not just questions about who I want to be and who I desire to be and how I want my life to be better and the money and this, that, and the third and the aesthetic of it. You need to ask yourself, why did I allow that? What was it in me that decided that was okay? What was it in me that decided I was responsible for saving somebody else at the detriment of me? What was it in me that was willing to sacrifice myself for other people? What was it in me that was willing to give up my peace of mind, that was willing to give up my clarity, that was willing to give up my relationship with God, that was willing to give away my joy to feel somebody else while I was being drained dry? What was that in me? And what was that in me that could not accept help, that could not accept anyone else's pour, that could not see that I was valuable enough to ask for more? What was that in me? Where did that come from? You have to ask yourself those deep questions, because, man, when I was going through the process of asking myself the hard questions and looking myself in the mirror and breaking down crying, because, man, why was it in my life that every single man I came across, even the men that were supposed to be father figures and advisors to me, always operated in perversion and took advantage of me? To the point where I stepped out as a girl. And I thought there was something wrong when a man would not try to touch me. I would be asking myself, like, well, does he not like me because he didn't try to touch me? Then I would cling on to the men when I got to a different point in my life that wouldn't touch me, but they would hide behind that and lead with that. And I was missing all the rest of the red flags, because it was like, wow, at least they weren't doing that. But I didn't know how to vet correctly or discern correctly to say, hold on, you also have to pay deep attention to everything, not just hyper focus on that and become codependent, because it's like, oh my gosh, at least I'm getting this. That's you thinking out of a lack mentality. When you haven't experienced something on a high level, when you don't have much experience in that area at all, you will latch, or if you have a deep desire for it because you felt depleted in that way, you will latch yourself to somebody in a toxic way. It is not interdependence at all. Interdependence is when you both are leaning on each other. Dependence is when you are dependent upon that person. Like, that has now become your source. You've latched yourself to it. That is now the source of your happiness, the source of your peace, the source of your stability. And that's dangerous. Because it's dangerous for two reasons. The first reason that is dangerous is that that person is still human and has needs as well. So if they are just constantly filling you while you are depleting them, when they need restoration and a recharge and you're not able to give them that, or they step away, or they say no, they set some type of boundary, you will become upset with that person because they're no longer filling your void, and you're using them as a void filler. You don't see that you're using them, but that is what it is, because you haven't taken that journey within yourself to say, I'm whole already. This is extra. This is not filling me. This is not my fulfillment. This is not my source. If I walk away from this today, or it walks away from me, I still have what I need. I'm not in lack here. But the problem is, we don't take those journeys of time and space to sift through us and affirm ourselves and build ourselves up to the point where when we step out confident and grounded to say, this is extra. And that's not cocky. It's not cocky or selfish for me to say no, for me to set a boundary, because I have recognized how detrimental it is for me to just have my heart on a plate, or to be unfulfilled and looking for somebody to validate me, because now I have to be dependent upon their words, their actions to make me feel good. And if they can't give me that, or if they're just using me because they see my brokenness, then I will start to perform for them because I want them to feel me when they are not my fulfillment. You need to sit down and get in tune with the Most High and look back at yourself and really ask him, how do you feel about me? How do you view me? Because he tells you, you are far more precious than rubies. God be telling you. He would tell you exactly how he feel about you. You are a high thing. You are extremely valuable. You are precious. Like something that's precious, something that's valuable. Nobody can just have easy access to them and then touch them anytime they want. Nobody has easy access to something that is valuable. They have to go through a certain process to even get in the same room, let alone in the presence of that valuable thing. Because just because you in the room doesn't mean you in their presence. Doesn't mean you get to go up on stage with them. Doesn't mean you get to sit at the table with them. You just in the room. You still got to work your way up to the person. a valuable thing, there is a process to which you must take to be able to get in their space. Proverbs 3:15 says, she is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare to her. No desire that you have can compare to who this woman is. That's what God thinks about you. That's what God is saying about you. He said nothing that anyone desires on this earth can compare to who you are. You exceed worldly principle or value. You exceed that. You're far more precious than a ruby. That's what God says about you. Read Proverbs. It's going to teach you about wisdom. It's going to teach you about the type of woman you need to be. It's going to teach you about character. It's going to teach you a lot and open up your mind to the foolishness that you've been accepting. God also says in Proverbs 31, when he's speaking about the Proverbs 31 woman, and also in the beginning of it, it speaks about the man. Like Proverbs 31 is not just solely about the woman. There's also instructions for the man in the beginning of it. So if there's any man watching this, don't lose sight of that, okay? He gave instructions to us both because we both are valuable things, and that's why he partnered us together. But if we are not operating at our highest level, then we will just keep each other suppressed and on the ground, and that's not where we're supposed to be. We're not even supposed to be looking down there, because everything that's down there is beneath our feet. So why are we looking to worry and stress and anxiety when we've been stepped on that? God then gave us power over that. He gave us dominion. He said we are the head, not the tail. So why are you looking at the tail end of things as if you don't have control in what you accept or what you allow? Proverbs 31:31 says, give her the reward for what she does, and let her works praise her in the city gates. It says, give her a reward for what she does. If you are constantly defiling yourself, dishonoring yourself because you don't see your worth and your value, that's what you're working towards. It says, give her a reward for her works. He didn't just say, I'm going to give her a reward for her good works. He said, I'm going to give her a reward for her works, and let her works praise her in the city gates. What is your reputation? Not the people who don't like you, don't like your light, just be making up stuff or holding you to that one time in your past life. Not that. If you were to sit down right now and really evaluate how you carry yourself, how you represent yourself, what would you say about you? What would your works speak? What praise would you get when you walk through the door? Take your time to process that. Because sometimes you can still be in unforgiveness with yourself based upon your growing pains. During my process of healing, I was talking to my therapist. And baby, I was so ready to be healed. Like, I was so ready to be at the point where it was like, I'm not in that place anymore. I'm not that person anymore. I don't want to keep reminiscing about the pain or having images of him with another woman. Like, I don't even want to have that in my mind. I don't even want to think about him not being with me. Like, I don't want to think about the heartbreak. I'm ready to be over this. When is it going to be over, right? And then also, I had a hard time forgiving myself and being kind to myself, because I was like, how could I make a mistake like that? How could I get in that position in my life? Like, how could I continue? Like, how did I get there again? How did my relationships end up like this? Like, how did I dishonor and disvalue and devalue myself in such a way? Like, I was having a hard time forgiving myself, y'all. And my therapist had to say, from what you have expressed to me, with the trauma that you have experienced, with the example that you had, and it wasn't that your mom was a bad mom. She also came from trauma and not the best teaching based upon generational principalities and curses and things. Why it is foolish of you to think that you would not make a mistake. It was inevitable for you to make a mistake in that way, because you were raised with a perverted perspective of love and value within yourself. You were raised with a perverted perspective of self-worth. So you beating yourself up and not forgiving you for the mistakes that you made, for the experiences that you had, is foolish. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. Forgive yourself for what you did not know, because most of what took place in your childhood was not in your control. It became in your control when you stepped out, but how would you know to do better if that is what you were raised in? That told you that that was okay. You stepping outside and you questioning whether if they like you or not, because you are measuring if a man likes you or not based upon him perverting you, violating you. It's how you were measuring your value. You had many things to break, many things to sift through, many failures. And baby, I'm sorry, but you can't skip this part of life. Everybody has the moment of why did I allow that? And what they do with that moment in their life is what's going to change their future. And you have to stop trying to get back to the old you. You have to stop trying to say, well, I just want to get this part of me back. The part of you that was operating like that is the reason why you got here. So you keep saying, I want to get that part of me get back. I want to get that part of me back. What are you trying to get back? It's a false illusion of what you're trying to gain. It's time for you to rebuild yourself from the ground up on the right foundation, because you weren't built on a solid one. And yeah, I get what you're saying. You want to be the fun you again. You want to be the happy you again. You want to be the nonchalant you again who didn't let things bother her so much. But baby, even that was rooted in perversion because you were putting on a facade. That wasn't you. You care. The fun that you were having was defiling yourself. The fun you were having was settling because you felt like you couldn't spend that much. You couldn't invest that much in you. You didn't see the value in it. The joy that you had was temporary because it was dependent upon external things and not what was in you internally. So it's not about you getting back to that, because that was an illusion. It's about you building yourself up from the ground, a solid foundation. So you have to do something different this time. And it starts with forgiving yourself and giving yourself grace. And that was a blessing to me, because I had a hard time being kind to myself. I had a hard time forgiving myself. I had a hard time even liking me, to be honest. In most of my life, I had seasons where it was like, I don't really think I like myself. I look in the mirror and didn't like what I saw. I was looking for somebody else to tell me that I was beautiful, or that I was special, or that I was this. And even when they told me, I didn't believe them, because I didn't think that about myself. It don't matter how much somebody affirms you. If you haven't affirmed yourself first, that hasn't been activated. You have to activate it in yourself first. If you don't see it for you, then it doesn't matter how much people pour into you. That's why you can keep pouring into a person that you see their potential, and you're pouring, and they don't take heed to it. It moves them for a short period of time because they don't feel like that about themselves. So they're dependent upon you to be their light, not knowing they have light in them. That's why there's so many people in this world who can be jealous of you. And it's like, why are you jealous of me? As if you don't have anything. They don't see their light. That's why you have to protect yours. You can't be operating. You can. It's a choice. But it's wise for you to sit with yourself and sift through that pain, sift through that trauma. And sometimes it takes you going through certain experiences that hurt you so bad to the point where you're like, you know what? I have to do something different, because I don't think I can experience heartbreak like this on another. I can't do it again. I cannot keep living like this. You get to a point where you are so tired. It's like, I have to do something different. I have to change. Because if I go on like this, I don't know the outcome. My biggest thing was, I don't want to be bitter or miserable or vindictive or spiteful. How you can look at your family and see some women in your family that are vindictive and spiteful because of heartbreak, because of the choices they made, and they're in a victim mentality when that was an active choice. And that's a hard truth and a hard reality. But based upon what your perception is of yourself is going to tell you what you're going to accept. So you have to shift your perception of self so that you can choose something different and place those proper boundaries up. And the reason why you keep compromising on your boundaries is because you're operating from a place of people pleasing and overcompensating. That's what you were taught love languages were. And that was the furthest from the truth. So at the end of the day, you have to let your heart break and sift through that pain so that you can get to the root cause of the issue. Because you get into the root cause of that issue, it's not only going to help you identify what the real problem is and what you need to attack, but it's going to help you identify how you have been collaborating with it. Once you pinpoint your collaboration, you can then begin to break down the way that you cope. Most of the time, your coping mechanisms is what keeps you in a cycle. You run straight to a bottle. You run straight to weed. You run straight to a man. You run straight to spending money. You run straight to just wasting time because you don't want to think about things. You just wait. You are binge watching movies or mindlessly scrolling. There's a multitude of things that you can do to cope incorrectly. The only thing that coping that way does is keep you in a reoccurring cycle. And each time you go back in it and you go through separation, the more pain you have now, the more bags that you have now, when you should stop, refrain from doing the same thing and say, I need to do something different. The wisest thing that you can do is deal with that pain in a healthy way, because it's inevitable for you to deal with it again if you go do the same thing, and you don't know how deep it's going to be that time, and you don't know what it's going to trigger you to do. You don't know where it's going to take you because you're already holding on to so much. Like Erykah Badu said, bag lady, you going to hurt your back dragging all the bags like that. Nobody ever told you that all you must hold on to is you. It's you. One day all them bags going to get in your way. You got to let them go. You have to sift through them, go through them, organize them so that you know what is what. Because I've been watching Dr. Cheyenne Bryan, and one thing that one of the most powerful things that I heard her say on, I think it was the Breakfast Club, she was saying, like, this part of you don't go away. You just learn how to be the head of it, not the tail. You don't let it dictate your movement. You don't let it dictate your day. You get to sit back and sift through it and say, you know what, I am irritated. I do feel this way, but how am I going to handle that? How am I going to address that? How am I going to move? You've taken time to process it and then shift your perspective on it instead of just allowing your emotions to make you sporadically move. And now you're in a catastrophe. And you got to dig yourself out this self-created storm that you didn't even have to be in. Now you're crying to God to get out of it. If you would have just sat down and taken your time to say, hold on, I'm mad, I want to fight, I'm sad, I'm upset, I feel rejected. But why do I feel that way? And what is this going to do for me if I step out like that, responding off my emotions? Easier said than done. You might crash out. You're going to crash out a couple times. It's a process. The more that you get the same detrimental result, the more tired you will become. And when you get to your point of being tired enough, you will change. That's what typically takes place. Most people, when you hear their stories, it's like, I was tired. I didn't want to move like that no more. I had this situation happen to me and I had to change my life. I seen my mom go through this for years. I seen my dad, and that shifted my whole perspective. I had to do something different because it could not go on that way. You'll get to that point. Give yourself grace in the process of it. But what I'm telling you is you don't have to get to the point of fatigue. Someone wise once told me that you can research and study the effects of that action and see what it will do for you. You don't have to go do it and get the experience just to teach from that place. The reason why you can teach from that place is because you studied it. You don't have to go do what everybody else is doing to be able to relate to them or talk to them. You can research and study and do something different with your life and still teach them. You don't have to fit in order to learn. You don't have to make those mistakes in order to grow. You can grow based upon doing something different now by taking heed to the warnings that people are giving you. I used to be in a place where I didn't respect my parents' decisions. Because of the effects of their decisions, I did not respect their advice. Why are you trying to tell me about relationships? Of course, I wasn't disrespectful with it. I'll sit there and listen to it, but it was going in one ear and out the other because I didn't respect them. And that was the issue. But the problem with that is, just because you do not respect the outcome of somebody else's decisions doesn't mean the advice that they are giving you is incorrect. It doesn't mean it's inadequate. You can take heed to what they're saying because the only reason why they're saying that to you is because they did it already and they're living in the effects of the choice that they made, and they wish they could have done something different. And in most cases, they think they can't. If you're still alive, I'm here to tell you, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, you can make the change. You're not passed away. You're still a spirit having a human experience, and you still got your body. There's still opportunity for you. If there wasn't, you'd be out of here. Gone. Many people have passed away thinking they could not do something different. You're still here. Why is that? That's the question you have to ask yourself. It's not too late. You just don't see a way. But I'm going gonna need you to start shifting your perspective and becoming inspired by somebody who comes from the same place as you. Start doing your research, pray and ask God to reveal to you a mentor. He'll answer you. I promise you he will. And the closer that you get to God, the closer that you stand in solitude, the more faith that you build. It's going to be easy for you to get back to that place when you were younger where you were like, oh, I'm doing it. I don't care what anybody has to say. You're going to become more relentless in your pursuit because you have a different type of faith. What happened is when you go through traumatic events in your life and you're used to being caught up in a cycle, it strips you of your faith. It strips you of your hope. It strips you of belief because you start to think like, well, I can't do that anyway because look where I've ended up. Look where I've came from. Look how many times I've messed up. And that's a lie sent from the pits of hell to keep you bound. That's a whole principality that you got to break. That's a whole stronghold that you got to go to war against to say, hold on, it's not too late for me because if it was, I'd be out of here. That's simple. And when you get in here, you can start saying, hold on, Psalms 91. Why you trying to come at me with this spiritual warfare while I'm feeling depressed today? It says, if I rest underneath the shadow of the Almighty, he'll hear my prayers. I've prayed to God and he has already rescued me. If I've opened up any door to any wickedness, if I've opened up any doors to depression, if I've opened up any doors to anxiety, if I've entertained it at all, I close the door to it now in the name of Jesus and I'm going to step out of here. You have no control over me nor no power. I know my authority, but the problem is you don't know who you are. You don't know where you come from. You don't know that you come from the Most High God. The Most High means ain't nobody else higher. Nobody. Demons know that. The people coming up against you, which is not them coming up against you. We fight not against flesh and blood. It's spiritual. They know that. But they bank on you not knowing that. Most of the people that have taken advantage of you in your life, they took advantage of you because they pinpointed your insecurities and knew that you did not value yourself. They knew that you did not see your worth. They knew that you didn't have experience in that area. So because you were oblivious to who you were and what was in you and the light you carried, they could take advantage of you. The moment where you started to see yourself and stand up for yourself and you became unwilling to compromise and you set boundaries, that's when all hell started to break loose with that other person. It became a problem, became an argument. Why? Because they banked on you not knowing yourself so that they can take advantage. That's how it works. And forgive them because they can still take advantage of you through your unforgiveness because now you bound and they move forward. Forgive them. Lord, forgive them for they do not know what they do because they have opened doors. Demons working through them, through their trauma and their pain. They stepped out hurt instead of sitting down and sifting through their trauma to get to the root. I'm not going to be that way. Not another day in my life. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to deal with the pain because that is the wisest thing for me to do. And if you read Proverbs, baby, it'll teach you some wisdom. And God said wisdom is a breath of life. Proverbs 16:16 says, how much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen by silver. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold? You can have all the money in the world. We see it every day. People have all this money, all this fame, all this power, all these people around them, but they don't have no sense. They don't have any wisdom. And if they do have it, they're not applying it. If their grandmama did give them some wisdom, they didn't apply it. That's why they crashing out. That's why they get to the highest of heights. Jumping back down to the bottom floor. And not physically, but spiritually, mentally, and emotionally to where they just trying to do anything to keep themselves drowned out. God said, how much better is it to gain wisdom than gold? I'm freaking talking my freaking collar out of place. Wisdom will carry you to many places and it will keep you outside of the hands of people who want to eat you. People who want to use you. People who want to manipulate you. It'll keep you out of spaces that you're not supposed to be in because your heart is pure. But God said you're supposed to have love abound with discernment and knowledge. That means, yes, you have a big heart. Yes, you're a great person. Yes, you are kind. Yes, you carry the fruits of the Spirit. But you're also supposed to use the wisdom that you've gained through life and discernment so that you're not just pouring. And now you poured into the wrong person in the right way and you got taken advantage of. And now you don't want to pour at all. That's an attack against you. Come on now. Come on now. Thank you, Jesus. Because listen, there was a time in my life where I didn't know this. And I had to get eaten alive. And then I was so upset because it's like, how could people take advantage of me in that way? It's a robbery, baby. Are they considerate in a robbery, or are they taking everything? Why did you think these people were going to spare you when it was a robbery? Why do you think the enemy going to spare you when it's a robbery? Why do you think? And I don't always just like saying the enemy, the enemy, the enemy, the enemy, because we have to, that is a thing. It's very much a demonic realm. It's very much a demonic kingdom. And that's why God be saying, get out your feelings. Get out of your feelings. I understand that you are upset by the fact that people could be that way. I get how it can be mind-boggling because you don't operate like that. And it's like, damn, what's wrong with you? Like, how could you act like that? How could a person even do something that vicious? Because you don't move like that. But just because you don't move like that doesn't mean that it's not a possibility for that to be a movement. That's why certain things happen to you as a child that you still don't understand. Because God already said there is a power that is working in this world. It's not more powerful than me, but it has power. This power, this spirit, this influence steps out to seek who it can devour, who it can take advantage of. And it's not even because of you solely. It's because it's mad at me, and because I'm operating through you, and because I'm instilling things in you, because I've given you gifts, because I want more for you. That spirit moves out here. That's how it is. God said, this is why you have to get in his Bible. Like, I understand racism, slavery, control, all of that. But let me tell you something. God's word stands. Regardless, it stands the test of time. He does not lie. It does not return to him in vain. But it's truth. But the problem is, if you put wisdom in the wrong people's hands, they will use it against you. That's why many people have books on psychology. Many people have books on manipulating energy. Many people have books on how to take advantage of people. They're not using that to help people, to be able to get people to understand why that happened in their life and how to heal from it. They are reading and studying and researching to take advantage. They are reading and studying and researching to take advantage, to control you, to say, God is going to be mad at you if you set a boundary for yourself. God is going to be mad at you if you stand up for yourself. First of all, God be taking people out, raising people up to take people out, because they coming against his children and his kingdom. He don't play like that. The problem is y'all start listening to people too much. If you get in this book and you read this, you will understand how God operated. He don't play. He does not play. He does not tolerate foolishness. He sets boundaries and standards, and he tells you what it is. And he don't care about your feelings. He's not changing it. He has stopped talking to you, actually, until you get into alignment, because he said what he said. And he wants you to operate the same way, because it's foolishness if you continue to compromise on your boundaries to appease other people. It's foolishness, because he told you in here that it's wolves in sheep's clothing. You think that's your kin, and that's not kin to you. Y'all just got the same skin. You think that's kin, and that's not kin to you. Y'all just have the same interests, okay? Both of y'all into music, but the way that they doing it is not the way that you are. You think that's kin to you, baby, and it's a wolf in sheep's clothing, searching and seeking whom they can take advantage of. What that sound like? A demon. Straight up. God said that. But the problem with this is, and not this, but the people who have this, who are taking advantage, is they teach you that God is a kind God. God is a super loving God, to where he's just going to keep giving you grace, and his grace is just so sufficient to the point where you can keep playing in his face, and he going to keep letting you play with him. He is loving, he is kind, he is graceful, but he still has a standard and boundaries in an allotted amount of time. So if you keep playing around, this is not to place fear in you. This is to educate you so that you can stop just living off grace, living off potential, living off of validation, living off of, you gonna die like that. Just living off stuff. Just accepting manna, just accepting crumbs, just accepting the bare minimum, just accepting that this is how good it get. You're gonna die like that. Why would you want to? Why? God said you don't have to live your life that way. These people are teaching you that if you desire to be successful, if you desire to make an income, if you desire to do something different with your life, then that means you against God. God never said that. He said your love of money is the problem. The fact that you're willing to compromise your integrity, the fact that you're willing to sell your body, the fact that you are willing to turn on your own people, the fact that you're willing to place your children in danger. That's the problem, because of your love of money. That's what he said. He didn't say you wasn't supposed to go after it. He didn't say you weren't supposed to place yourself in positions to be abundant. He didn't say that. He said don't be dependent upon it, because you are the true wealth. That's why people are trying to buy your body. That's why when you give birth, they're trying to take certain parts of you, and they give you a hard time when you're asking for your placenta back. You are the true wealth. That's what he said. So it's not the word that's the problem. Get out your feelings about it. People use it to control you and to make you, people use it to attack you, to control you, to take advantage. And because the people took advantage of you, you said, I'm done with God. It was never God. It was always them. It was never God. It was always them. And he has many ways he speaks, not just through this. So you can't operate from a religious spirit to say, this is the only way. This is the principle. This is the core of it. This is the foundation. But God will talk to you through a bird. God will talk to you through a ladybug. God will speak to you through another person walking on the street that don't even believe in him. God will talk to you through an atheist. God will talk to you through a Muslim. God will talk to you through so many other people, so you cannot operate from a religious spirit. He will send people to help you that you will then impact that don't even look the same as you or represent him the same. But that don't mean this is not the foundation. There are people who operate demonically that use this every day to elevate. Every day. Every day. That's why you have to use your discernment. Because people will come to you and they'll quote something from the Bible. And you're like, oh my gosh, I found me a brother or a sister in Christ. I found me somebody who's walking this divine journey with me. And it's like, baby, they studied that a couple times. They know enough to be able to take advantage. And you think you done found you a partner in Christ. And you found you a partner in crime. They got you doing all types of buffoonery. And you don't even know it. You don't even see it. You can't even take heed to your spirit anymore because you've taken on theirs, thinking it's God. It's not God. Straight up. Oh! This is supposed to be about heartbreak. It is about heartbreak. That's why you gotta let God do his thing. That's why you gotta let the Holy Spirit speak. Because I'm like, hold on, this is supposed to be about this. I'm supposed to stay on task, and people don't want long videos. Take what you can and get up out of here. I can't suppress God. Because that's who it is at the end of the day. All the glory goes to him. Because there be some, listen, all the glory go to him. Because there was a point in time in my life where I was representing the wrong kingdom. Oh my gosh, I was representing the wrong kingdom, defiling myself, dishonoring myself, because that's what we were taught. And you get so tired of doing the right thing that you end up being like, let me go out here and do this. Not knowing, baby, you acting like a common whore. Everybody can't be no hoe. Them positions been filled. You on a waiting list to be a hoe. You are preparing to be a whore. Like, there are so many open positions out there for you to be a Proverbs 31 woman to have way more than a whore can. You could actually go save some of them hoes. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to be harsh or crass in any type of way. I'm being honest because we're being taught to dishonor ourselves. We're being taught to operate on a low level. We're being taught to dishonor God and call it a trend or fashion or the it girl aesthetic or the, like, what are we getting at? All you're doing is defiling yourself, and the very people that are leading the charge of defilement, they married and got kids. They still with their husbands. Okay? And if they're not with that one, please believe they about to be with another one. They're not the type of girls that's really out here like that. That's just how they make their money. They don't even let their kids listen to the music they let you listen to. What do that tell you? They're just making money off you, off your ignorance. But they're not ignorant at all. They're extremely wise. They just know what sells and what works because they're operating in the wrong kingdom. I'm going to leave that there. But at the end of the day, all of this is about heartbreak. All of it plays a part within heartbreak because you've experienced so much violation due to the things that were never supposed to violate you. But you have to understand that we fight not against flesh and blood. It's spiritual at the end of the day, and it's real life demons walking around out here. And that's why God is like, you need to get to know yourself. You need to get to know your power and the spirit that you come from because, baby, nothing can touch you. Once you gain that wisdom and you apply it to your life, nothing can touch you. You're going to start telling people, I don't even play like that. I don't operate that way, and you're not going to feel bad about it. God bless you the same. I pray you have a good day, but that's not me. You're not even going to entertain people too long. You're not even going to get caught up in situations too long to the point where it's like, dang, I'm wasting my time. You already see who they are from the beginning, and you have already come into agreement with the fact that I'm not in control of how you operate. I can only be in control of how I move, and I pray to God that it impact you, and I'm going to pray for you because I see what's operating in you, and I'm going to keep it pushing. I can't save you. And if I sit here and make you my assignment when God never assigned me to you, you're going to deplete me and drain me because bad company corrupts good character. And now I'm eating swine with you. Well, that's not even in my palate. That's not even, I'm not even attracted to that. That's not my forte. You get what I'm saying? God's called me to eat things of quality. God's called me to a high quality of life. And now I'm coming down to the swine pit to eat what the pigs eat because I'm kicking it with you. You're going to have to come up higher or you're going to have to get away from me. Read Proverbs. Get in tune with yourself. Go outside. Enjoy life. Do the things that are in your spirit to do. You want to go on walks daily. Make the time for it. You have the time. In order for you to clear up space, you first need to release what is no longer benefiting you. You first need to release what is not in agreement or in collaboration with your quality of life enhancing. You need to release everything that is working against you, that's causing delay, that's causing sadness, that's causing confusion, that's causing you to constantly question yourself and have to keep yourself to an old version of you because they can't move on from it. Release everything that don't serve you. It's a process. Especially if you're operating from a place of lack or fear, because I don't know what my life is going to be if I let this person go. I don't know what my life's going to be if I stop doing this. I don't know what my life's going to be. I don't know. I might not have anything. You have everything. Release is the first part of your breakthrough, because the moment you release and you clear space, God gonna get to pouring. But he cannot pour if you still have that in your space, because all you're gonna do is turn back around and cast your pearls among swine. Why are you still kicking it with the pigs? Why are you still eating with the pigs? Why are you still frying up this bacon? Why are you still doing this? It does not mesh well with your body. That's why when you went on that fast and you stopped eating that way, that's why you went on that fast and you separate yourself from them people. Your whole energy, your whole aura, your whole body shifted to a higher level. And then when you went back and relapsed, now your stomach hurting. Now you don't feel right. Now you back in a place of confusion. You better stop eating with them pigs. You're not a pig, baby. Okay? Jesus casted demons into pigs and they jumped over a cliff into some water. Seemed low vibrational to me. I don't think you're supposed to be around pigs at all. You need to start asking yourself, do I look like swine to you? My bad if I've been acting low level. I'm not a pig. You cannot have your way with me or just feed me anything. I see you for who you are. Have a good day. And I apologize if I've been a lesser version of myself because I didn't know that I was a precious thing. So I was acting like a pig, but I'm not a pig no more. Stop playing with yourself. And let your heart break. And honor the Most High because he's been calling you for a while. And you can do everything that he's placed on your spirit to do. But the only way that you are going to get to that place that you envision yourself The only way you're going to get to that place that you desire to be, because you're watching everybody else live in those places and travel and do this and do that, and you know that you desire that for yourself, the only way that you're going to do that is by first breaking down everything that's coming up against you so that you can operate differently. Because you'll get the money, you'll get the marriage, you'll get the power, you'll get the respect, you'll get the house, you'll get all of that and squander it and fumble it, and it slip right through your hands because you still operating from your old system. Your system has to break. And that's what this process is. You're in a process of refinement. That's why people are walking away from you. That's why your taste buds are changing. That's why God is challenging you. That's why He's waking you up out your sleep. That's why you have a desire and a deep hunger for something more. God is calling you so that everything you've prayed for, because He hears your prayers, He says yes and amen. Everything, if it's within His will, He's not going to give you back that person that's been abusing you. He's not going to give you back the things that are detrimental to your psyche. He's not going to give you back the things that are detrimental to your growth or your elevation. He's not going to give you back those things that are going to keep you operating at a low level and not being able to operate at your highest. So if what you prayed for is within His will, He's preparing you for it because He's already said yes to it and it's already ready for you. But you have to be ready and equipped for it, or you're going to squander it and be mad at yourself and Him. That's not the goal here. Okay? So let your heart break. And this time do something different, because the old way is only going to cause you insanity. Because you're doing the same thing expecting a different result when you have to change the way that you operate. As always, I pray that you're leaving this video way better than you came. And last, but certainly not least, for those of you that do not know me, my name is Jasmine El Sali, which means I'm a gift from God. And then El Sali is one of God's names, which means He is my rock and my fortress. So, every time you say El Sali, you are calling upon God in a way that is necessary and needed for your journey. I pray, as always, that you're leaving this video way better than you came, and that you gain some wisdom from this so that you can apply it to your life, and your quality of life can change, because that is the goal here. And my prayer always is that you are able to grasp the present moment so that you can see God's hand throughout your day, because in that is your instruction, your affirmation, and your comfort. God is always speaking to you. But if you are too caught in the past or in the future, you'll miss the present moment. And in the present moment is everything that you need, because God is speaking to you for today so that you can prepare differently for tomorrow. Don't think it's too late for you. There's still hours within the day for you to decide to do something different. And know that the moment you decide is the moment adversity is going to come up against you, because there are demons that are benefiting. Demons also dwelling in people that are benefiting off you being the way that you are. So the moment that you decide to be different means you're not only going to break you free, but you're going to break a multitude of people free. And that means there are less people in the world that are able to be taken advantage of. And that doesn't make demons money. That doesn't make these head people in charge money. It doesn't keep their pockets full, even though they have enough already, but they're operating from greed and lust and pride. So when you get free, you're going to set a multitude of people free. So you have to be aware that adversity is going to come up against you. And adversity is not always coming up against you to get you to stop. God will use that adversity to train you, because there are many things that you have to be aware of and prepared for in order to stand this high. And you can't be in your feelings about it and upset that things are this way. That is what it is. But you have the advantage, and you are higher than it all, because you come from the Most High God. So take your time, sift through that pain, let your heart break, and sit with your Father so that you can gain insight and wisdom and you can apply it to your life. Okay? I will see you next video. I pray that I do, and if I don't, I wish you well either way on your journey, as I know you already have victory. So stand firm. Go read Psalms 27. Psalms 91, declared and decreed over your life, especially in your hard times. And Psalms 9, because God said, first of all, they are mortal men. What can they do? Lord, show them that they are mortal men. Let nothing that they have done come up against me, and I accept it and allow it to work, because I think they have power over me. Show them they mortal men. Psalms will put up, don't play with me. Psalms will have you out here like this. Go read Psalms, okay? Declare it and decree it over your life. Psalms 9, Psalms 27, Psalms 91. Speak it over your life. It is strength to the sword of the spirit that you hold in your hand, which is an arm, which is one of the pieces of armor that God has given you. It's in Ephesians. Google the armor of God, okay? Put it on. The sword of the spirit is God's word and his promise to you, because this is not just him speaking, it's a promise and a decree. All right? So I'll see y'all next time. As always, I'm so happy that you came, and I pray that you are leaving here way better than you came. Be sure to read the description box so that you can connect with me on other social media platforms, and I look forward to spending more time with you.